Who should the Carolina Panthers draft at quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft? Let's just go ahead and take Will Levis off this list. Will Levis has all the physical traits to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He has good size, good athleticism, and a fantastic arm, but he has a lot of red flags. His accuracy and ball placement is really inconsistent. His footwork is sloppy, and he can be really reckless with taking care of the football at times. Imagine the Carolina Panthers trading up for the #1 overall pick, giving up DJ Moore, 2 second-round picks, and 2 first-round picks just to draft Will Levis. That would be a slap in the face to Panthers fans across the globe. Let's scratch Will Levis off the list. That leads us down to 3 quarterbacks: CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson. And out of those 3 quarterbacks, CJ Stroud is probably the safer option of the 3. He has prototypical size. He's 6'2", 214 pounds, so he has the frame to be able to take the big hits in the NFL. He should be able to stay healthy, and this is somebody who should be able to lead your franchise for the next 10 to 15 years. CJ Stroud has fantastic accuracy and ball placement, good anticipation when it comes to throwing guys open, and he's a dog. You know, I love rooting for players who constantly get counted out, get doubted. Every single week during the regular season for Ohio State, I always heard people saying, man, CJ Stroud, he's too soft, or he just doesn't have that dog in him. And I don't know what the hell Ryan Day told him before the college football semifinal matchup against the Georgia Bulldogs, but CJ Stroud played like a man possessed. I mean, we were knocking CJ Stroud for his unwillingness to run, and I don't know what happened against Georgia, but the dog just got out of the cage. I mean, this dude was running around, extending plays, throwing on the run, picking up yards with his legs on the ground. I mean, this dude was just an unstoppable force. And if CJ Stroud plays every game for the Carolina Panthers the way he did against Georgia, this dude is going to be having a first-class ticket to Canton, Ohio. And that may be a bold statement to make, but if you go back and you watch that final game against Georgia, CJ Stroud was just a man amongst boys. He probably was the best player on the field, and that's with Marvin Harrison and Jalen Carter both being on the field at the same time. CJ Stroud was that damn good against Georgia. CJ Stroud put up a historic performance against Kirby Smart's defense. The only quarterback who had the kind of performance that CJ Stroud did against Georgia, against a Kirby Smart-led defense, was Joe Burrow. CJ Stroud has all the tools to be a great quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. You don't really have too many red flags. You don't have no off-the-field concerns. He's pretty good when it comes to going through his progressions. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes with the football. CJ Stroud probably would be the safest option if you're the Carolina Panthers. You don't have to worry about the durability concerns that you have with Bryce Young. And plus, you don't have to worry about making him sit a year or two trying to develop him like you need to do with guys like Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. CJ Stroud is a day one starter. You draft him, he's going to be able to come in and contribute right away. Then you have Bryce Young. And Bryce Young is my favorite player in this draft class. And I believe that he's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. You look at the size and you say, JT, no thank you. No way you think Bryce Young is going to be able to stay around for 10 to 15 years in the NFL. And listen, I do have a lot of concerns about Bryce Young's size. Some people say last season at Bama he played at 194 pounds. Others may say he played at 186 pounds. He came into the NFL Combine at 204. But I'm going to just be honest with you. I don't really care about Bryce Young's size. Because if you go ahead and you watch his tape, you see a damn good football player. You see somebody who truly understands how to play the quarterback position. He knows where all his receivers are at at all times. His football IQ, his awareness is off the charts. It's like this guy just has eyes in the back of his head. He doesn't get fazed with pressure in his face. He has really good pocket awareness, something that you don't really see a lot of for guys his size. You look at Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. These are guys who have to do a lot of damage throwing the football outside of the pocket. But Bryce Young, if he was 6'3" or 6'4", this guy would be labeled as the next can't-miss prospect. He also is like Houdini. He's really hard to bring down. Yeah, he's small, but he's not the easiest guy to bring down. I mean, this guy can wiggle his way out of tackles, wiggle his way out of sacks. He's like Houdini. And when he gets outside the pocket, that's where a lot of magic starts to happen. He also has a good amount of mobility to be able to pick up yards with his legs. Even though you would have loved to see more of that during his time at Alabama. But Bryce Young has all the tools to be a great quarterback in the NFL. And if you're the Carolina Panthers, CJ Stroud is good. But I think if you were to rank these quarterbacks, it would be Bryce Young 1A and CJ Stroud 1B. Bryce Young, for the last 2 seasons that he was starting for Alabama football, you kind of can say that he carried their offense. Normally, Alabama has tons of players on both sides of the football entering the NFL draft. But the only notable player that Bryce Young was working with on offense that's slated to be a top draft pick on the offense side of the football was Jahmyr Gibbs. And he's either going to be a late first-round selection or early second-round pick in this year's draft. So Bryce Young wasn't working with a stacked Alabama team like how you're accustomed to seeing out of Alabama quarterbacks in the past. And Nick Saban will probably even tell you that if it wasn't for Bryce Young, Alabama would have lost way more games than what they did last season. This dude, Bryce Young, one thing that stands out when I watch him is that he's always calm and collected. I never see him get rattled playing in some of the toughest, most hostile road environments in all of college football. He's always in control. And not just that, but in big moments of the game when you need him to make big plays, he comes through 9 times out of 10. This guy's clutch. This guy's poised. He's a fantastic leader. He's not a big rah-rah guy. He's a little bit similar to CJ Stroud, soft-spoken, rather lead by example. But Bryce Young, if he gets drafted by Carolina, I also think just like CJ Stroud, they're both kind of bust-proof. It's just that you have the concerns with his durability. But if I was Carolina, I would take Bryce Young. Hell, yeah, he may not be around for 10 to 15 years, but at least when he's on the field for the 6 or 7 that I know that he can stay healthy for, he's going to be a damn good quarterback. This dude is like a mix of Russell Wilson and Drew Brees combined. Fantastic accuracy, good ball placement, really good at going through his progressions. He comes from a pro-style offense, so you don't have to worry about how he's going to translate going from college ball to the NFL, at least when it comes to understanding NFL systems and schemes. I love Bryce Young. Yeah, his size scares me a lot. I don't know how he's going to hold up, but all you need to do is make sure that he has a good offensive line, give this dude some good pass protection, and let him cook. And then you have Anthony Richardson. And I already said that I would take Bryce Young over CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson, though, he has a really compelling argument. You may say, well, JT, you just crossed Will Levis off the list right when this segment first started. Yeah, I did. But you see, Will Levis doesn't have the kind of athleticism that Anthony Richardson has. When you watch Anthony Richardson play, there's no way that you can't see Cam Newton. I don't know how you don't see Cam Newton when you watch Anthony Richardson play. It's kind of like you have this evolution. We first started off with the Randall Cunninghams of the world. Then you had your Slash Stewarts. Then Michael Vick came around. Then after Michael Vick, you had Vince Young. then Tim Tebow, then Cam Newton, and then things started getting really scary when Lamar Jackson entered the league. When Lamar Jackson came in the league, we never saw a quarterback with the kind of speed and quickness that Lamar Jackson possessed. And then Lamar Jackson was able to put it all together, and now he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. And then you have Anthony Richardson. This dude is the definition of being built in a lab. 6'4", runs 4.43, and has a rifle for an arm. I'm sorry, but I definitely could see a way that Anthony Richardson goes #1 overall. And yeah, he may not be able to start right away, but you trust Frank Reich with quarterbacks. Frank Reich has a fantastic track record of being able to develop quarterbacks. He was really good with Andrew Luck, even though he didn't really need to do too much work with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck still had one of the best seasons of his career under Frank Reich. Then you had Jacoby Brissett, who wasn't too bad. He played better than what most people expected him, or he played better than what most people had expected out of him. Then you have Phillip Rivers, who in his final season led you to the postseason. And then after that, you're playing musical chairs. You had Carson Wentz, then Matt Ryan and Sam Ehlinger. But Frank Reich has a really good track record of working with quarterbacks. And if there was any head coach in this draft who I would trust to help Anthony Richardson reach his full potential, it would be Frank Reich. This guy has a proven resume of being able to elevate and develop quarterbacks. So I don't see no reason why he wouldn't be able to do the same thing with Anthony Richardson. A lot of people make the draft seem like it's all about the players when it's also about where you go, who you get as your head coach, and if they're able to build a scheme and a team around your strengths. But if I was the Carolina Panthers and I was their general manager, the quarterback that I would pick would be Bryce Young. I love CJ Stroud, but Bryce Young, I just think that he makes you a better team than what CJ Stroud would make you. Now, both of those guys would make Carolina a better football team today than what they would be yesterday if they were to draft one of those two guys. But I just think that Bryce Young is just a tad bit better than CJ Stroud with his ability to improvise, throwing on the run. CJ Stroud, he's not that good when it comes to being able to get outside the pocket and throwing on the run. That's not really a big part of his game. Like, mobility for CJ Stroud isn't what his game is based on. His game is based on staying inside the pocket, dissecting and picking apart your defense with fantastic accuracy and great ball placement. Now, if he does need to run, he has the ability to do so. He's not a burner. He's not a blazer. He's not Lamar. He's not even Patrick Mahomes. But he does have enough speed that if you give him an open running lane, he can make you pay. I want Bryce Young. This dude is really rare. You don't see the kind of skill set out of Bryce Young that you normally see from quarterbacks that have his size and stature. Truly rare. But Bryce Young is the quarterback that I would take if I was the general manager for the Carolina Panthers. But let me know who you guys think the Carolina Panthers should draft at quarterback in the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft.